Hey everybody, it's me Ben with Maker Decor. And I want to thank XTOOL for actually reaching out to see if I want to do a review on their M1 laser cutter slash vinyl cutter. So I don't really do reviews, but I thought, you know what? I get a lot of questions about lasers. Let me try this one. And it actually includes both using a vinyl cutter and a laser. When I think of reviews, just like when I'm on YouTube, I want to see like, is this a product for me? I usually want to see like, hey, what can this do? What can it do? What are the limits? And usually what I get from reviews is just a bunch of numbers that usually just go over my head. Make something. That's what I want to see. I want to make something. I want to see what can this make? What can it make? That's kind of this review that I'm doing, a review style of let's just see what this can make. What can it make? What does it struggle with? And what does it good for? I will say this is packaged really well. It includes a lot of extra stuff like vinyl cutters. You get a lot of different blades that are attached with this, and you even get some vinyl mats. I believe 4 came in this package, and they have a strong hold and a medium hold depending on what type of material you'll be having on there. Setup of this machine is super simple. It takes only literally a couple of seconds to minutes to have this whole thing set up and downloaded for the program. So it definitely included a lot of different stuff that we can try out. Some we get to, some we don't. So when I get in here, this is actually set up for, I do want to say thanks. XTOOL sent me actually a lot of their acrylic. They sell a bunch of different laser machines, but they also sell a lot of the supplies you may need. And so acrylics, wood, all that stuff is made specifically to go with lasers. So even though I don't have an XTOOL, I've actually been buying some of their acrylic because it cuts really well. So I've bought Amazon acrylic, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes you get a bad smell and you're like, that's not really acrylic, I shouldn't be lasering that. Definitely I love that XTOOL sells their own products, so definitely check out if you're not into their lasers. They also have products that you can go well with any laser. Now the M1 is actually very compact, and it's almost just like a larger size printer, so it'll fit on a desk easily. But it also comes with the ability, if you get some add-ons, to actually use a rotary. It'll lift it up, and you can even have it where it's encased and you can engrave tumblers, wine glasses, anything like that. But even just out of the box, if you buy the cylindrical, what they actually have some wood riser pads that you can actually lift up your laser and actually engrave without the added box, which is great. But definitely I recommend, if you are going to be doing tumblers or anything with the cylindrical object, since it raises it up, it's good to get that encasement because it'll actually help with evacuating any of the smoke out of the room through a window outside. Now they sent me the premium material package, and so I've seen actually a lot of people do a lot of different videos using this stuff. But for me, I said, you know what? Let me just make something that I haven't really seen too much people focus. Let me make something that's different that they don't send. Let's make a craft project. Let's make something that's different that I would actually try to make if I bought this machine. So one of the projects that I was really excited to actually give a try is actually cutting leather on here. I wasn't sure if I was able to do it. I have a 70 watt laser, so this is a 10 watt laser. And I was kind of like, is this gonna work? And actually it cuts like butter. I actually messed up here, and this was my first cut, and I didn't realize, I forgot you're supposed to have those little guide rails under. What they do is actually lift up the leather so you're not cutting through, and you'll see later on I actually cut through this and actually mark on the bottom piece of this floor. So I really should have had those risers when I was cutting this, but honestly I just got this out of the box and set it up. It wasn't that much of a problem, and I just used some wet towels to kind of clean it off. But I learned from this mistake, and so the next ones I put in those risers, as you can see here, and I had no problem cutting it. Cut super easy. So if you're wondering if this can cut leather, it cuts it pretty easily. The one thing that's going to touch on one of these machines is actually time. So it does not cut as fast as commercial machines that are thousands and thousands of dollars. So I'm going to make in a lot of different projects, and we'll see at the end. Now we're going to wood. I decided to make this, and this is where the timing changes. They give you 3 options. You can cut, engrave, or outline. Outline and cut are decent speeds, but once you still go into engraving, actually took an hour and a half, which is crazy. But cutting out the leather took less than 10 minutes. So cutting and outline, you're not going to have a problem. But once you start engraving, it will take a lot longer. So if your main thing is like engraving tumbler, you will be taking a decent amount of time. So while I was engraving this, it actually ran out my camera battery, and I had to put it to charge. But in between then, I actually cut these. They're out of thinner leather, but these are for a purse. So what I'm doing is just staining them. They're leather, they're veg tan leather. You can cut very easily with this machine, and we're just staining different colors, and it was a big old mess. I just wanted to put this together and kind of give you an idea of what you could do. And so on these two, I'm just putting some type of clear coat on the coasters, and then I was actually putting Tocono on the shot glass wrap. But I shouldn't have done that because you need to wet it before you put it on the shop glass so you can mold it. So that was a mistake I deal with later. So now I'm just putting some Tocono on the leather handbag straps and the name tag. So the next project I made is actually a wood decor sign. It's an image of the world kind of spread apart, and I wanted to cut that out. So it actually cut this out pretty quick, way quicker than I thought it would. And then I actually put this on another sheet and I engraved the outline so I knew where to put a lot of the shapes. But I did mess up when I cut out some of the ones from the beginning. I actually just thought some of them were scraps, but they're actually pieces to the world, so some places are missing. Sorry about that. So it's a let our adventure begin sign. Definitely worked out great. Definitely, I love the way it came out. And the next project, I was like, you know what, let me make a leather knife holder with a little flashlight, and I can also make a little pocketbook. I'm like, those are gonna be an awesome little project together. So they came out great. Again, we did the outline, not the engrave, because the outline was gonna take longer than I would want. So these came out really well. So now to glue the world map together, as you can see, a lot of those I just thought they were scrap and they fell through the bottom and I just threw them away, but they were pieces of the world. So if you're not there, I'm sorry I threw you away. All right, so I just used some super glue, put those on. It worked out great. So with this project, I definitely wanted to make it pop off the wall. So I bought some offsets from Amazon. So they definitely push it off the wall, and I think it makes it pop really well. So definitely glad I decided to do that. It's definitely an easy upgrade just to make your project stand out. And I can just imagine all the different things you could do with this wall. And they're actually pretty simple to install. You just screw the offsets to the wall and then just tighten the project on there. Worked out great, super easy. Definitely something someone can do easily. So a lot of this is just projects that you can do. There's definitely limits to what this machine can do, but also definitely check out XTOOL. I have the link below. If you want something maybe that's going to cut a little bit more, cut a little thicker, cut a little faster, anything what you're looking for, they do have additional different types of lasers that are meant for thicker wood to going faster, cut more, cut faster. Of course, the price goes up. So with this, is definitely a beginner friendly machine, especially if you're into crafts and you're just wanting to learn about lasers. You can do a lot of different projects with this machine. There's definitely limits, but also I'm showing you the different things you can do it. Now, what I'm actually putting together, that blue one, is a no-sew purse and super easy to put together. So what I'm actually doing is actually adding some rivets. You don't have to, and you can actually purchase these rivets and just do them with a hammer. You don't have to have the tool that I have. It's a little press. You don't have to have that. You can actually just do it with the hammer. I believe with the button, I actually just use a hammer and then set. Definitely love the way this purse came out. I did mess up when I was cutting out the rivet. I cut the hole out too big, and you can see in the front of the name on the corner, I think the right corner, you see where the rivet messed up, and that's also because I made the hole way too large. I was just kind of getting the feel of the machine and definitely went off a little bit. I know the next time it's going to come out 10 times better. I just wanted to give you something you could do. And remember, you can only laser true leather. You cannot laser pleather or any other plastic type of leather. Those are harmful. Do not engrave or cut on those. It has to be true leather, and veg tan is the one that is recommended. On the coaster, I actually had messed up. I shouldn't have put that coconut oil, because when I put the water to kind of help it snugly fit over the shot glass, I realized that's not going to work out. It doesn't want to absorb the water. So if you're going to do that, put water it, and then you can slide it over the shot glass, and then you can coconut it later if you'd prefer. I don't know why I did that. I was just in a hurry putting all this together. So now I wanted to make a book. This is something I've always wanted to try. I've had this little scruncher machine for a while. I don't really know what it's called, but I've wanted to try to make a wood book before, and I said, you know what, perfect opportunity. So that's what I did. It was just kind of a little trial and error to see how the book would come out. Definitely loved it, and we'll probably do something like that more in the future. I actually have another video on TikTok, Maker Decor Makes, where I actually make that filled notebook. And then you can also laser engrave leather patches that are ready to be heat pressed. Now I think I heat pressed my beanie too much, and it actually darkened the front. I had the setting too high, but that was just kind of just to see that it would work, and definitely engraved well. You can do a lot of leather different projects that you can cut with it, and definitely makes a lot of different projects. So two of the things that I didn't even get to touch on this video is the tumbler engraver and the vinyl cutter. Hopefully I can make videos of those in the future. That's what makes this such a great beginner laser for a crafter. You're like me, you just like making anything and everything. Now, one thing I'll say real quick that I did not really get good results with this machine was cutting acrylic. I was able to do it. To me, I would not recommend it. If you're just going to be cutting acrylic, this is not it. So the four things that I looked at when I was first trying to buy a laser were money, speed, power, and cutting area. Speed is, especially if you're doing commercial work and you want something that's gonna be moving fast and fast and fast, especially if you're starting a business, this one may not be it. Again, XTOOL sells other ones that are gonna be a lot faster, but the price goes up. The other one is power. What are you cutting? Are you cutting leather? Then you don't need so much power. This one was able to cut it really well. Are you engraving on metal? So it all really depends on what you're going to be cutting. And the other thing is cutting area. Are you just making small little books? Are you want to make big signs? That comes into play later on when you want to start making larger stuff. Thanks for watching. Really glad I was able to show this video for you. No, this wasn't a traditional review video. I want to see what can it do, what can it do. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.